All right, we're live, guys. We live? I hope we're live. And I hope my yes. Okay. I am so sorry about that blunder, guys. We didn't even run an intro or nothing. Have you liked and subscribed? I had to rerun the stream. But we are live now. Let me know in the chat if the audio is good, and I'm hoping that it is. It seemed like there was some wires disconnected in my setup. But we're here now, we're live, and I was literally going on a rant in the original stream, but we might have to run that back because, guys, in the world of transfers, everyone but Manchester United are competent. Everyone but Manchester United get to celebrate signings, celebrate some hyped up transfer news. You got the people on the other side of the north, Liverpool, making moves for Alexander Isak. You got Arsenal making moves for Noni Madueke and Gyökeres and Eze. Rodrigo linked to Chelsea, linked to Liverpool. And then it comes out today from David Ornstein that there is a huge gap in valuation between Manchester United and Brentford. I don't want to be a pessimist, guys. You lot know I try my best to be realistic rather than, reactionary or pessimistic, etc. But I am so worried about Manchester United's summer transfer window. I am so worried. The concerns that I have now exceed any expectation or realistic expectation I potentially had for Manchester United this summer. And I'll even go as far to say that there is some failure on Inos's part. Omar Berrada, Wilcox, Matt Hargreaves, who's reportedly the head of negotiations for Manchester United, to be 6-7 weeks deep into this Brian Mbeumo saga and to still be far away in valuation. I am so concerned about how Manchester United's transfer window is going to turn out. And that's why in the title of the video, it says honest conversations needed, because I think we need to have some honest conversations with ourselves about this. Who else peeped that Mina and Isak really resemble each other? You're not the first to say that. I get that a lot. I guess it's the East African genetics, but I get it a lot that I look like Isak. But make sure you hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here. It's the road to 16k. If you want to join the membership club, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel, the ever-growing channel as well. We've got so much to talk about because I think we need to talk about Inos, but we also have other transfer news to talk about. Not necessarily of the ilk of Arsenal signing Gyökeres and Liverpool signing, potentially signing Alexander Isak, but it's still relevant news. We're going to talk about Manchester United's interest in Nicholas Jackson because we spoke about it a few days ago about the prospect of it being legit, and now Sky Sports have also confirmed that Manchester United are definitely interested in signing Nicholas Jackson, but it's just interest at the moment. We've become Interest FC, guys. Reportedly, AC Milan are interested in Rasmus Højlund, and a big part of Manchester United's blunders this summer transfer window is down to the Rasmus Højlund signing. Financially, I'm talking about that because Manchester United paid 45 million upfront to sign Rasmus Højlund, which is blasphemous in my opinion. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Vlahovic being offered to Manchester United. We're going to talk about Tolisso. Guys, do you ever feel like sometimes you've just gone back in time in the summer transfer window? Because with the names that United have been linked to, Calvert-Lewin, Ndidi, when I saw Tolisso, I thought there is no way on God's green earth that United are genuinely interested in Tolisso. Maybe because he actually looked decent against United when he was playing for Lyon in the Europa League. But aside from that, I thought this is what happens when we become scavengers. We are United. I have a feeling, and I'm worried of the prospect that Man United becomes scavengers in the summer transfer window and just try and buy cheap, try and buy affordable, but just try and buy numbers to fill up the squad. And we're going to talk about this situation because I saw an article from a journalist. I think it was a Daily Mail journalist, and it was titled the Outcast 5 gang, something like that. And it was talking about Rashford and Anthony and Garnacho, etc. And I'm actually starting to feel like this is quite I don't know. I feel like this is not how you should be handling this kind of situation, because no one's going to buy these players. No one's going to buy these players when you have publicly exiled them. You've also publicly tried to suggest that they wanted and they've requested transfer moves. But after some research, I realized players will never request the transfer. They'll never hand in a transfer request because they will lose out a lot financially. So I doubt they actually handed in transfer requests. I know it's very clear as day that United want to get rid of them, but also to an extent that they are only reporting to facilities to use the Manchester United Carrington facilities after 4 p.m. every single day, because Manchester United and Ruben Amorim do not want them in contact with other players. Do they have the lurgies? If you're from the UK, you know what the lurgies are. It's like, I don't know, something that we used to say when we were kids. But is it because, are they carrying a something that you don't like? For me, to go that far is crazy. You are never going to get 60-70 million for Garnacho when you got him entering Carrington from the back door. You are never going to get 40-45 million for Marcus Rashford when you're telling him that he can only use the facilities when no senior members of the squad are on the training facilities. Like, and to top it all off, I think batching Anthony into that, I think Sancho, Garnacho, Rashford, there's conversations about that. But Anthony and Malacia being boxed into this as well is ridiculous. Big up to everyone anyways. We've got so much to talk about, so make sure you hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. I'm not a United fan, but damn, your window's looking horrible. Damn. Exactly, Minna. There's no reason for teams to rush to sign them. I think a lot of teams are going to wait it out until deadline day. Genuinely speaking, I think a lot of people are going to wait out for deadline day. Big up to Riri, been a member for 19 months. 19 months, that's nearly 2 years. It says, bless up, sis. I'm loving the consistent level up. I appreciate it. Much love, sis. Be sure to hit the like button. And if you don't want to join the membership club just like Riri, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course you get to support the growth of the channel. Let's start with Rasmus Højlund. Reportedly, Inter Milan and anyone else that was interested in Rasmus Højlund are no longer interested in him. It's also been reported in the last 30 minutes or so that AC Milan are a team that are looking at Højlund as an option, which doesn't make sense to me because they just brought a striker in the January transfer window. I know they lost Morata, but it doesn't make sense to me that they're going to look to sign Rasmus Højlund. Again, I think it might just be paper talk. It's funny how every team that seemed to be linked to Rasmus Højlund is Italian teams. I haven't seen anyone else outside of Inter, Napoli, Juve, and now AC Milan popping up in the conversation for Rasmus Højlund. Now, if you look, cast your minds back to when Man United signed him, we paid more than half of his fee up front. Can you believe that, guys? We paid 45 million up front, cash. And you guys wonder why Manchester United are now finding themselves in a cash deficit, if you want to call it that. Not because of, I'm not saying it's solely because of Rasmus Højlund, but these kind of decisions have contributed to the shortcomings of Manchester United this season. Now, with saying that, I have a strong feeling next season Rasmus Højlund will still be at Manchester United. I have a strong feeling. I actually have a feeling that United are going to continue to disappoint throughout the window. Now, I will be honest with you lot. Start watching football outside of Manchester United. Like, still watch Man United, but go and explore some new leagues next season. Go and explore some new clubs maybe to watch that you might enjoy watching. Because if you only watch Man United next season, I promise you, you're gonna fall out of hate. You're gonna fall out of love for football if there is any love for the football. You're gonna fall out of love with it. This is why I always encourage people to watch as much football as you can outside of Man United, because you will enjoy watching football. It's time to explore a new sport. Hell, if you don't want to pick up a new sport, NFL is there, NBA is there, Formula 1 is there, golf is there. There's so many sports to watch, because I'm coming to the exception that we need to humble ourselves when it comes to Manchester United. And what I say by that is not that we even need to humble ourselves. I think we need to accept that Manchester United under Inos, we should have listened to those Nice fans. You guys remember those Nice fans that were talking about Ineos taking over Manchester United and was warning Man United fans? about the shortcomings of Nice, warning us about the shortcomings of Jim Ratcliffe and the ownership and the structure and the level of ability that they had to try and make Nice successful, how disappointing they had been. I don't want to pile on to Ineos, but I think that the fact that there's not much urgency across the window, and this Brian and Mbeumo thing is a kind of, I think, the overall how we can identify how bad Ineos are. I think just looking at the Brian and Mbeumo situation, and the reason why I say that is because I understand that Man United are at a position now where they don't want to, the United tax they don't want it to be a thing. But there's Premier League tax, there's top 6 tax, there's top 10 tax. Watching so many other teams sign other Premier League players and expecting Brentford, or trying to bully Brentford into accepting a lower fee than what they anticipate, or what they believe is a reasonable fee for their player, I think is stupidity, if anything. I think it's stupidity, and I think it's stupidity that we do not speak about enough. I genuinely think that, because I said this a couple of weeks ago on the red carpet on United View, if any of you lot were watching. I said that my biggest worry is that either this just drags out, this Brian and Mbeumo situation drags out, and United don't end up signing him, or B, United end up signing him and they end up paying exactly what Brentford wanted. And I said it was a waste of time. I think a couple of people on the panel said it wouldn't be a waste of time, but I said that 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks would have been wasted. Why? Because right now, every transfer that we're seeing, or any transfer link that we're seeing, and I'm going to speak about a couple of them, I think Vlahovic is one that has been mentioned, is being reported that Manchester United are not looking to advance on another deal because their priority is Brian and Mbeumo. We can only work on one transfer at a time. Is that not negligence? Is that not that's a hindrance to Manchester United's entire summer transfer window? If we fully believe, and Ineos fully believe, that they can only work on one deal at a time, and it's shown us how long each deal takes. One transfer every 8 weeks. It's ridiculous. It's moving like a blood test. Guys, if you ever get blood tests from the doctors, you go and get a blood test every 6 to 8 weeks if you take a certain type of medication, so that they can monitor how your blood results look. This is the same thing. But when Man United were, being taken over by Ineos, and it's a minority takeover, we were told, oh, they will have, or they will be the footballing minds. Glazers will no longer have any kind of responsibility. They will be the footballing minds. So they've put themselves in the firing line for the Glazers. But also, I had to sit there, and we had to sit there as fans and listen to multiple interviews from Jim Ratcliffe speaking about hiring the best in class. I don't want to sign Mbappe. I want to find the next Mbappe. The hell? What? And we just lapped it up. We lapped it up, guys. We lapped it up. We were told, remember this, and I said this at the time. I said that it was emotional manipulation at the time. I said that when Manchester United under Ineos are making several cuts across the firm or across the club, over nearly 600 redundancies, they are going to package it as an opportunity for Manchester United to be financially sound in the transfer window. And that's exactly what Omar Berrada said in an interview, that the cuts were necessary for Manchester United to be able to be financially free in the summer transfer window and sign the best in class. Just like Jim Ratcliffe said, he signed the best in class. Now, justice for Dan Ashworth. Justice for Dan Ashworth, because I said it at the time, this sounds weird. When it came out of nowhere, I think it was after Nottingham Forest, the Nottingham Forest game, I think it was. It came out of nowhere, bam, Dan Ashworth been sacked. He was called to Omar Berrada's office after the game and told he's being sacked. Then suddenly the PR journalists for Manchester United, the ones that are putting out the transfer rumors about, oh, Man United are open to signing Marcus Rashford and they're open to selling this person and selling this person. They were saying, well, Dan Ashworth wasn't competent. But a guy that was highly regarded at Brighton, a guy that was highly regarded at Newcastle, a guy that was highly regarded and a big part of the success of the England national team, or the turnaround from the England national team under Southgate, because he was the one that created the centre of excellence at St. George's and kind of unified the path for England as a national football team, both from senior level all the way to lower ages. They wanted us to believe that he was incompetent for Manchester United, and the reason why he got sacked was because he couldn't make a decision, because Jim Ratcliffe reportedly wanted a kind of firm suggestion on who to hire as a manager, when really it was later reported that the reason why Ashworth and Berrada and Ratcliffe didn't see eye to eye on things was because Dan Ashworth realistically believed it was ridiculous to sack a manager, keep a manager in the summer, but then also go on and sack him less than a couple of months in and sign a new manager with a completely different style of football to get the best out of players that were signed for a previous manager, and even he couldn't get something out of them. I think that we do not speak about the shortcomings and the negligence from Inos across multiple avenues of Manchester United. I feel like we don't speak about it enough. I never had high expectations for Ineos. I'll be so honest. If you guys remember back when I was streaming over nearly 2 years ago, when I first started my channel and Ineos were taking over, I remember saying, I have no expectations for Ineos. I actually don't believe anything Ratcliffe says, because sometimes I feel like people who speak a lot, and this is not just Ratcliffe, but just generally speaking, people who speak about things a lot that they want to do, I think they speak about it as an ego boost for themselves, rather than, because I'm also a firm believer, yeah, this might be the I don't know, this might be the ethnic in me. I don't know if you guys are the same, but you don't speak about stuff or your plans until you're actually ready to execute it. When Jim Ratcliffe was taking over Manchester United, and they poached Berrada from Manchester City, and they were bringing in Wilcox, and they were bringing in Dave Brailsford, talking about I remember when last summer, everybody made a big deal out of the new Old Trafford tunnel because it was marginal gains. You're telling me a lick of paint on the wall was going to make us advance past our opponents, because it's all about marginal gains and it's all about mentality. I promise you, paint has nothing to do with mentality. Something on the wall will not change the mentality magically of the players. Marginal gains, I hated hearing that. I hated hearing this thing about marginal gains with the expectation or the prediction that suddenly everything will just make Manchester United more competitive. And that's why I say, on paper, everything that Ineos said sounded good, but the reality of it has been the complete opposite. And we are seeing it in 4K right now this summer transfer window. We are seeing it in 4K. The fact that Man United can only prioritize one signing at a time. I'm watching Arsenal have Madueke and potentially Gyökeres doing their medicals together. I watched Liverpool sign Frimpong and Florian Wirtz at around the same time. I've seen Manchester City sign Ain't Nouri, Ryan Cherki, and Tijani Reinders in the space of a couple of weeks. If they all had the same mentality as this Manchester United structure, they would all be only on one signing so far this summer. I promise you, Liverpool would not have signed Florian Wirtz by now, let alone Gyökeres, if they had the mentality of Manchester United. But then there's people out there that will lap it up. And they will lap it up, and they will believe that Ineos are doing what's right for Manchester United, because you know what? I've seen, some comments suggesting maybe it's right that Man United hold out with Bryan Mbeumo. No. I hate this logic of Man United tax is the reason why United shouldn't overpay for Bryan Mbeumo. Firstly, Man United are not overpaying for Bryan Mbeumo. They are paying a market premium price for a player that got 20 goals in the Premier League last season. That's not a premium price. A premium price would be Manchester United paying 100 million for Bryan Mbeumo. But when you look at what Anthony Elanga has, and be honest, guys, when you look at what João Pedro, Anthony Elanga, all of these guys, Gittins, all these guys, yeah, the prices that they're going for, are you genuinely telling me that whatever Brentford are asking for is unreasonable? Like, do you genuinely believe that as a Manchester? Because I don't believe what Brentford are asking for is unreasonable. When I look at the market, when I look at across Europe, how much players go for, this idea that Man United are holding out for what they believe is a reasonable fee, it's ridiculous, because no club ever pays what they believe is a reasonable fee for a player. Let's be totally honest. When you are signing someone, you're not signing someone on how much you think they cost, because you are not you are not the decider in the transfer window. The same way you value Garnacho at 70 million is probably the same way that Brentford are valuing their player at um at a fee. Didn't we bid what they asked for? They changed their figures. Let's actually talk about this. Because today David Ornstein reported that there is a gap between Manchester United and Brentford on their valuation of Brian Mbeumo, which it remains quite considerable. The two sides, are several £1 million apart. There have been no significant developments over the past couple of weeks, and a deal is still not imminent. But talks continue as United work to complete a move for the Cameroon forward, and that is coming from Mr. David Ornstein himself on the Athletics deal sheet that they do every single Tuesday. Now, what does that kind of tell us? It tells us a lot of journalists are trying to get the clicks. They're trying to get the clicks. If United are still considerably far away from Brentford's valuation, I think this is just my prediction, by the way. I'm assuming it's maybe down to the actual cost of Brian Mbeumo in terms of the guaranteed cost rather than the add-ons. I think that's what might be holding back. I think the add-ons, I think Manchester United are trying to offer a package of, say, 65, 70 million, whereas I imagine Brentford probably want the actual upfront cost to be about 60-ish million and the rest in add-ons. So I think that's the first part. The second part is I fully believe that Brentford feel no way about not selling him. I said to you guys already that I think that Gibbs White thing falling through at the moment, and there's still question marks about it because Nottingham Forest are taking legal action. I think it might be a silver lining in the cloud, for Manchester United, because I genuinely think if Morgan Gibbs White leaves Nottingham Forest, I think there will be a domino effect that will impact Manchester United and Man United, Inos, Omar Berrada, Matt Hargreaves, the head of negotiations. All of these guys will have to walk back to Manchester United with their tail between their legs, make them walk on the M1 and the M6 back from Brentford all the way to Manchester. Because if Gibbs White does go to Tottenham Hotspurs, I see immediately Nottingham Forest triggering that move for Wissa. They did kind of dip their feet in the pond with a 25 million bid, but it got rejected straight away. And if Brentford sell Wissa quicker than Man United are able to agree terms for Brian Mbeumo, they will probably feel like they have no obligation to sell Brian Mbeumo. They won't have to do that. They were happy to wait out their fee last year as well with Ivan Toney. They ended up selling for cheaper, but that's what a lot of clubs do. They wait to get what they want, and if they don't get what they want, unless their hand is being forced financially, like the likes of Leon, who had financial issues, I think they'll be happy to keep their player. Big up to Red Scare Claire with the super chat. Thank you, Red Scare Claire. I appreciate it. It says, I'd like to know why we can't move from players quickly. Arsenal moved on from Sesko and got Gyökeres. We must not keep lists of players for positions. Either you are going to pay or you're not. Let's actually talk about this quickly, yeah? Because Omar Berrada did an interview with United We Stand, yeah? And I swear, reading this back just makes me think, yo, what the hell? Like, it's actually quite shocking. Because he says something that stuck out to me. Here, he says, it's over here. He says, on the football side, there is a clear idea of what we want to do, what players we want to get, how we want to see the team playing, how we're going to integrate academy players, and how we're going to go and invest in future talent. I sit here today and I'm actually very optimistic and quite positive about what's ahead. Of course, we need to get a lot of decisions right and we will make mistakes. There's no doubt we'll try to minimize those. But what we want is to build something that is sustainable for the long term. That interview was done a month ago. That interview was done a month ago with the United We Stand magazine, and then Manchester United posted about it as well. So this is why I say it's PR, because I've never seen, you know, an external interview done with a CEO and then the club post a whole article about it. And for me, it's just selling this idea as much. That is all Man United can do right now with Inos, I think, is they have to sell fans this idea of, we are trying our best. We are going to get some things wrong. It's lowering your expectations. It's really, really lowering your expectations. But also, guys, with this comment here from Red Scare Claire, Arsenal appointed Berta, their new sporting director. They parted ways with Edu. They had their new sporting director in. Their sporting director reportedly came in with a plan, came in with a list of names, and Arsenal were ready to put their money where their mouth is. That's it. You know, they had eyes for Isaac, but it was never going to happen. Sesko was a name, but also they realized there's no need for them to pay 90 million plus for Benjamin Sesko when they could get Victor Gyökeres for cheaper than that, and maybe would adapt to the league a lot quicker. He will probably, I think, adapt a lot quicker. I think also Arsenal are in a position where they need to win, and they need to win now. Man United aren't in that position. I don't think we are. I don't think we're in a position where we need to win the Premier League now. Arteta, yeah, Enzo Maresca has just won 2 trophies. He surpassed Arteta's trophies at Arsenal already in the space of a season. Imagine that. Imagine that. Arsenal, for me, need to win, which is why I respect the fact, like, you lot might not, you know, there's a lot of football tribalism, but as a if I was to just take a step back and just look at the Premier League overall, I respect the fact that Arsenal are going out into the summer transfer window and spending on players and spending big, because they have to win. I think Arteta's in a position where he has to win. Liverpool want to dominate, so they're going out and spending. Manchester City have the luxury of finances. They have a pit of endless money, but also they ain't trying to fall behind Arsenal and Liverpool, so they're spending. Newcastle are spending. Chelsea are spending. All these teams realize that the gap between the Premier League winner and everyone else will only get bigger if they don't spend. Manchester United want to maintain, in my opinion, this idea of, we are still building. We are still building. By the way, Omar Berrada is the same guy. He didn't have to tell us. We never asked for this. But he's the one that said by 2028, Manchester United will be competing for a Premier League title. And when I saw that, I remember doing a stream here and I said to you guys, 2028 is not that far away. 2028 is literally 2 EA Sports FCs away. If you want to, what's it called? Kind of measure it like that. If we were to measure how far 2028 is, the kids that are starting university this September will graduate there. So it's a degree. It's the same length as a 3-year degree. It is not that far apart. He willingly told us that because they need fans to buy into whatever it is that they're building. But this summer transfer window, in my opinion, has shown the shortcomings and the failures of what Ineos are trying to do. I personally don't think their plan was immediately to make Manchester United great again. Word to make Manchester United great again. I don't think that was their plan. I think their plan was to come in and as slowly as possible try and steady the ship, but financially try and make sure Manchester United are in a better place profitability-wise. We are signing every academy kid possible, guys. Have you guys actually thought about Manchester United's academy recruitment structure? Because historically, I don't remember United signing academy players at this rate. And what I mean by Man United signing academy players at this rate, I don't remember Manchester United signing 5, 6, 7, 8 academy kids in a summer transfer window, but then there's no pathway to the first team for them. We signed Samuel Lusau last summer from Crystal Palace, if you lot remember. Everyone was so gassed about him. Not knowing anything about him, people were hyping it up. Yeah, people were hyping it up. I promise you, Samuel Lasal will probably be sold by Man United in the next year or two. Because Man United are looking for a quick flip. You know how I compared this the other day? I was saying, if you grew up in the UK, do you guys ever remember people that used to sell snacks at school? They're looking for a quick flip. They're buying a pack of Kit Kat, that come 5 in a pack for £1, and they're selling each one for 50p. Quick flip. They're making a profit of £1.50. That's what Manchester United are trying to do under under Inos. They're trying to buy all these academy players, and Jim Ratcliffe warned us. He did say, I don't want to sign the next Mbappe. I don't want to sign Mbappe, sorry. I want to sign the next Mbappe. Bring me Mbappe. I don't want the next Mbappe. I don't personally. Unless he's coming from our academy and he's already in Manchester United's academy and he's been there under 8s, under 9s, under 11s, whatever, then I can get behind that. But if I want Manchester United to be competitive on the pitch, I am not waiting another 10 years for the next Mbappe. Anyways, enough of this rant, guys. Enough of this rant. Let's talk about let's actually talk about this. Let's actually talk about transfer stuff, guys. Let's actually talk about transfer stuff. And let me see what you are actually saying in the chat. We were also warned by the Nice fan base this ownership was trash over there. We have wasted so much time on Mbeumo. If we get nothing out of it for all that lost time, we won't have a good season, bro. We will be getting relegated. We need to get lucky with some academy players exploding or it's done. Manuel says either go for young talents, develop them, or buy mid players, create a unit that works well together. We don't do either. It's a roll of dice and hope, and anything goes. FC, excuse me, absolute elite mess. Big up the wrap up Haven says, stay calm, guys. Bruno told us. Ineos said they told me they have money. Yeah, that for me, that was wild. Like, now that I look back, and I said it at the time, I said Bruno saying publicly, Man United don't need the money. I don't need to go. Obviously, he was told that by whoever wanted to keep him at the club, which sounds like it was Ruben Amorim. But for him saying that publicly, actually, do you guys think? Let's actually, before we talk about Nicholas Jackson, because I think that's just gonna depress you lot even more. Cast our minds back to last month, yeah. And do you think it's a mistake on Manchester United's end for not selling Bruno Fernandes to Al Hilal? Do you guys think Man United have made a mistake by not selling Bruno Fernandes? Honest question. And whilst we're at it, guys, make sure you hit the like button. We've got over 130 people here, so be sure to hit the like button. Let's try and get at least to 100 likes. You guys know, you lot know the rules, man. You come in, you wipe your feet, you say hi to everyone in the chat. Get involved in the conversation, and of course you hit the like button. If you want to join the membership club as well, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content. Of course, you get to support the growth of the channel. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can we have a super chat goal on the stream, and you can help me reach the goal here on the channel for the day. It goes a long way as an independent channel to improve the quality, the content, the output, and build the community here on the channel. So you guys know what it is. Listen, Bruno Fernandes, 100 million on the table from Al Hilal. He said no. I mean, what they were offering him was already outrageous, but he said no. And he also said, Manchester United told me they don't need the money. And now Manchester United find themselves, well, we've been penny pinching, but now they find themselves penny pinching even more to try and get some transfers done in the summer. I think had Bruno Fernandes left Manchester United and went to Al Hilal, I think there wouldn't be such heavy emphasis on the need for Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho to be sold for certain prices. I don't think there would have been emphasis. I think Man United would have been able to move effectively in the summer transfer window, but also not hold a heavy reliance on having to sell players. Because right now, this idea, after if Man United sign Mbeumo, quotation marks, there is a narrative out there that Manchester United have to sell before they buy anyone else. It don't look like Garnacho is going anywhere. It don't look like Marcus Rashford's going anywhere. Everybody is holding these players Man United are holding these players up here for the necessity of them making a move in the summer transfer window. And I think if Bruno had left, that wouldn't have been the case. Yes, you could still sell Marcus Rashford. Yes, you could still sell Anthony. You could still sell, if you wanted, Højlund, but you wouldn't have had to sell them for that level. Did you see the Diaz bid Mina today? I did. I don't get why Bayern Munich are going for Diaz. You got Rodrigo and Rafael Leao available on the market, and you're going for Diaz. I don't know, but I think Liverpool will look to sell Diaz for sure, because I think he's got like 2 years left, on his contract, and he's not signing a new deal, so they'll probably definitely look to sell him. But we'll talk about all other transfer news towards the end of the stream. Imran says this is seriously concerning how Inos are moving. Pyramid Scheme, big up Pyramid Scheme, says there's a reason Bruno a Pyramid Scheme. I always thought you were a mod on the channel, you know. Says there's a reason why Bruno is 30 with 0 European or league titles anyway. His football doesn't work when it matters. For some reason, it's always the few players that have scored goals, assists before that get pushed out, and each time we wonder why we cannot score goals. If Ahmad continues his form, is next. If Ahmad continues his form, he's next. Bruno brings nothing to the table worth turning down 100 million. This is a heavy comment. This is a heavy comment. Good point. Only swayed by Amram's desire. That's the thing. I genuinely think that I can't fathom the idea of Ineos turning their noses up at 100 million pounds. I can't imagine that. Now, I'm not saying Ruben Amorim has strength over Ineos decision making wise, but I do think that might have swayed the decision a lot. And also it might have swayed the decision in terms of the fact that maybe Amorim knew that Ineos weren't planning to do anything much with that 100 million. Maybe he knew, so he said, you know what, I ain't leaving. He ain't leaving. Amorim probably threatened to walk if Bruno got sold. I think also maybe Amorim, I don't know. I feel like I speak about Ruben Amorim first. We speak about him like we know him, number one. Number two, but I also think we speak about him like he is part of this. Like what we are criticizing, he is part of it. He is part of it. Manchester United finishing where they did, having the season that they did, he is part of it. Yes, Ineos made the wrong decisions, but also, as much as I think he is a reasonably good manager and I liked him at Sporting, he is part of what is going wrong. So I can't give him a clean slate from everything and be like, oh, it's okay. Your hands are washed clean from this. This is all Ineos. It's not Ineos, because Ineos might be the ones in the boardroom, but you're the one in the changing rooms. You're the one in the dressing room before and after the game. You're the one on the pitch, on the training ground with these players. You're the one that is, in my opinion, should be held accountable for the decisions that are being made in terms of starting lineups. I don't think Ineos are picking the starting lineups. I don't think they're picking the way that United are playing. I don't think they're picking the formation. I don't think they're doing any of that. I think Amorim is. Is he accountable for some of the stuff that has gone wrong? 100%. Is it solely him? No. Because in an ideal world, Amorim would have joined in the summer. Do you see how in this interview, let me show you guys. In this interview, the way that this is the interview that I was talking about. Berrada did the interview with United We Stand magazine. And he's basically talking about, look, here he says, had Ruben started on July 1st, 2025, we wouldn't have been able to have all that knowledge. So he's talking about everything they learned in the 6 months of Man United being a failure. And he says, so he's trying to already paint this picture of, you know what, we appointed a manager in November, and yeah, we finished 15th, and yeah, we lost Europa League, and yeah, we've exiled 3, 4, 5 players, but we wouldn't have known all of this had we got Ruben Amorim in the summer. That to me is outrageous. If you try to package it like that, you're trying to find the silver lining in the cloud. Sorry, why do I keep saying in the crowd? You're trying to find the silver lining in the cloud, and in my honest opinion, there is no silver lining in the cloud. There is none whatsoever. But I look back at this and think, if Man United could go back, I think easily, without a doubt, they would have. By the way, guys, I don't know if you lot follow the Saudi League, but I follow the Saudi League. The Saudi Pro League have now implemented FFP. they have now implemented FFP. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this would have been an opportunity for Manchester United and for Al Hilal to make another big signing before FFP regulations come into action. Starting from this season, FFP will come into action, which means that clubs can only spend 80% of their revenue. A lot of clubs don't generate hundreds of millions in the Saudi league. They get their fair share of TV broadcasting deals, but it's only broadcasted in the Middle East predominantly, and DAZN have the coverage rights in Europe. Al Hilal obviously are owned by the PIF, which is the Saudi Investment Fund, which is obviously state-backed, is owned by the government. So they can pump money in through, marketing and advertisement and sponsorships, etc. But there is no longer going to be opportunities for teams to be spending this kind of money on a player. By the way, I said it at the time, had Bruno joined Al Hilal, he would have gone down as one of the most expensive players in the Saudi league ever. Because Neymar went for about just slightly more than that. Slightly more than that. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's talk actual transfer stuff, guys. Let's actually talk transfer stuff. Nicholas Jackson. Big up to Cozy with the super chat, by the way. Thank you for the super chat. Cozy says Manchester United is a mid-table club in 2025. We are mid-table. I don't think, when I think of top six on paper, yes, but league-wise, I don't think we're top six. I blame you, Minna, for Jackson. You jinxed it into existence. I told you, I got a bad rate when it comes to transfers and just stuff, because I mention it and suddenly it starts to happen. I really got to keep my mouth shut. 60 million for Nicholas Jackson. I've seen people entertaining the idea of a swap deal for Alejandro Garnacho. I will be totally honest. I'll be completely honest. I think United could do far worse than Nicholas Jackson, but not at that price. Do you guys think Man United will pay 60 million for Nicholas Jackson, by the way, when they don't even want to pay 65 million for Mbeumo? Take that, please, let's deep that, guys. We are fighting over millions, a couple of millions with Brentford, and there's people out there that believe we could genuinely buy Nicholas Jackson for 60 million. Why do we keep helping Chelsea? I don't know. I laugh at Arsenal when they do it, but Arsenal been doing it for years. United, this is just a recent thing. I'm still not healed over Mason Mount signing. And by the way, Chelsea, I listen, for as much as people talk about billionaire blue boys and whatever, I rate what Clear Lake and Todd Bowley and all of those guys, that the other director at Chelsea, I forgot what his name, Iqbali, I think his name is. They have a no F's given. They find every loophole to take advantage of financially. They sign who they want. Yeah, they make the manager get rid of who they want. So it's not necessarily the manager getting rid of players, but I think it's the ownership moving them out. They pay people peanuts compared to what United pay players. They sign them on long. Wallahi, I rate that. And when they sign, we were laughing at Chelsea having 60-something players. Yeah, all these random academy kids, all these young players that they're signing from South America, etc. Then they go on and flip that and sell them to Strasbourg, that's owned by the same owner. I rate it. Where is it taking them? It's taking them a bit of time, but they've managed to win some silverware, and they will only go on to win more. And they actually look quite fun to watch under Enzo Maresca. I like João Pedro is a still. Big up to Thando with the super chat. I think Thando is a Chelsea fan. Big up Thando. I appreciate the super chat. Player farming, if you want to call it that. If Inos was smart, they'd pivot from Mbeumo and hijack Richard Rios and just put Bruno back in the 10. I like Richard Rios, but I don't think he's the marquee name that you guys think he's gonna be. I liked what I saw from him in the Club World Cup. I think he's similar to Ugarte. I think what Manchester United need in midfield, and again, what I believe Man United should have versus maybe what the manager wants is kind of separate. I think what the manager wants is just destroyers in the middle pivot, and those ball progressors, the players that are good on the ball, the people that get the ball going forward are going to be the wide centre backs or just the centre backs in general. I don't like that necessarily, because I always say, if you're a midfielder, you should be good on the ball. The same way, if you're a goalkeeper, you should be good at stopping shots. The same way, if you're a striker, you should be good at putting the ball in the back of the net. Like, for me, that is just the basic fundamentals. Richard Rios for 28 million, I think that's what Roma are trying to get him for. I saw Zenit St. Petersburg are trying to hijack that, and he don't want to go there. He probably wants to go to Roma or something. But I think 20-ish million for him is decent. But we shouldn't be going for, I think, a big... the only midfielder we should go big or go home for is a player like Carlos Baleba. That is, for me, the kind of midfield. Like, Reinders was the kind of midfielder United should have went big for. Baleba is the kind of midfielder United should go big for. United need someone who's good on the ball. Like, that's what we need. Tolisso links killed me. Listen, let's quickly just very briefly, we're going to talk about that. Very, very briefly, wallahi, because I saw this yesterday and I just had to laugh. I thought the guy that has had, what, 2 ACL injuries? Guy that has had multiple ACL injuries, batted up Ugarte, by the way. I think that's why. I actually think that's the only reason why United could possibly be linked to him, because he shat, excuse my language, but he shat on Ugarte when we played them. I felt like I was in 2018-19 again. I thought, Tolisso. I thought maybe there's another Tolisso that exists that I'm just not aware of. When I first saw the report, I thought maybe there's another Tolisso that I'm not aware of that we're linked to. And then I saw the picture of him in a Lyon shirt. I thought, wow. How the mighty have fallen. I don't have much to say on that Tolisso stuff. Imagine having only one new signing versus Leeds on Saturday. No one thought that would have happened months ago. I thought we would have, at the beginning of the window, I said Man United should have 3 new signings by pre-season. But I was going off of pre-season tour in America, not necessarily Europe, the Europe part. But even that is ridiculous, because I've seen reports about Brian Mbeumo where Manchester United are hopeful he's going to be there on Tuesday for when Man United get ready to travel to America. Is this a joke? So in the space of a week, the reports are that Man United are hopeful that Brian Mbeumo will be on that plane that takes off with Manchester United to go to America. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Like, generally speaking, guys, if you do not laugh, you will cry. Another player that's been offered to Manchester United. And this is just, like I said, guys, you know what it is? If you lot go supermarket shopping, yeah, the best time to go supermarket shopping in the day is like an hour or so before closing, because they'll have a section in the supermarket where it's the clearance stuff. You'll find, like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, sometimes I walk past it and I'm like, ooh, red velvet cake for 20p. I'll take that. Ooh, a nice little pear and cucumber matcha drink that costs £3. It will cost 50p. I'll take that. I don't usually do I don't do the supermarket shop, but when I do, I will just walk past it and be like, what's the expiry date? 2 hours time. No problem. I can eat this in 2 hours. This is what I feel like Manchester United are doing. We are shopping around the things that people don't want, the things that people want to get rid of, and the things that have a sell-by date. That's it. Because, yes, Dusan Vlahovic is a okay striker, but again, it's not. I don't think it's what Manchester United need. Juventus are ready or getting ready to terminate his contract, because nobody wants to pay a big fee for him. I think he's been also linked to Saudi. That's another place that he's been linked to. But at this rate, if you're available in the summer transfer window, you're linked to Saudi all the time. Hell, I'm linked to Saudi right now. We're shopping in the reduced aisle in the supermarket. Forget the reduced aisle, yeah. We are going in the bin of the supermarket for the things that they've thrown out that they've not been able to sell. That's where we're shopping right now. That is where we are shopping right now. The things that people want to get rid of, that no one wants to buy, that is what we are shopping. Out of date. We're going to sign a player that's expired and be like, Why can't he perform well on the pitch? Because he's expired. It's like buying food that's expired, thinking, why has it got mold on it? Because it's expired. Big up to Cozy with the super chat, says United should close down their academy. Why? Our academy is not the problem. Our academy is not the problem. Kweke says we should grab Decore, Callum Wilson, and whatever else in the free agent market at this rate. Can we assemble a team, guys, from free agents? Come, let's see. Free agents in football. Come, let's see who we can put together, guys, with free agency. Let me see what else you lot are saying. Big up to OJ in this chat, says United decided to take the stance of not being bullied in the transfer market at this time is insane. When we desperately need players, that's when they decide to take a stance. I have a hot take, guys. I think we should just pay what people ask for. If it's genuinely like a player that you want and that we believe is good, I'm not talking about like what happened with Rasmus Højlund, because I don't think anyone was sold on that. But if today United want to sign, say, Rodrigo, yeah, and Real Madrid say 90 million, just pay it. Brian and Mbeumo, 65 million plus 10 million add-ons or 5 million add-ons, pay it, because these are good players. If we're going to spend 70, 80 million on some random player, that's when I'm against it. That's when I'm against it. But let's see if we can assemble, guys, a starting 11 or some players that we can sign. Well, I can't lie, I wouldn't be surprised if United shop in this section. These are all the free agents right now in the summer transfer window. Tomiyasu, we know, had his contract terminated at Arsenal due to his injury situation. Calvert-Lewin, Everton let him go. Cal Walker-Peters, he's all right, I guess. Kurt Zuma and Nelson Semedo. Victor Lindelof. Callum Wilson, Abdoulaye Decore. What is Regular doing on this list? What is Regular doing on this list, guys? Danny Ings. Don't let Marcel see that. Marcel might tell us to sign him. Kufau, Tagliafico. No way, Tagliafico. Luka Jovic. That guy has fell off crazy. Like, I remember when he was the next best striker in Europe, and then Real Madrid bought him and he just fell off. Hakim Ziyech. I mean, guys, what are we saying? Hakim Ziyech? What are we saying, guys? Hakim Ziyech? Well, this list smells. This is actually a very, very smelly list. Carlos Vinicius. He got the same name as Vinicius Jr. Bring him. It's close enough. Close enough. Ryan Brewster. Damn. Some of these names, I ain't heard these names in a minute. Lucas Vasquez. Damn. Jeffrey Schlopp. Marco Arnautovic. Remember when we were linked to him? 36 years old and he's still kicking ball. This is a horrible. This is absolute stinker and hooked of a list. But could United do? Yeah, of course we could do worse than some of these players here. Absolutely. But I don't think United should be linked to a player like Dusan Vlahovic. I don't think we should sign a player like Dusan Vlahovic. Sorry, not linked to. I don't mind being linked to him, but I don't think we should be signing a player like Dusan Vlahovic. And that's just my opinion. That's really just that's just my opinion. Let's actually quickly talk about these guys here. Out of favor, Manchester United players asked to report before training after 5 p.m. They might as well go to Saudi, because in Saudi they train after sunset, guys. So they might as well just go play in Saudi, because it's basically the same. Reported by The Athletic, Manchester United's out of favor players have been asked to only report for training after 5 p.m. once Ruben Amorim and the rest of the first team squad have already left Carrington. Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony and Malacia are not part of Amorim's plans. Facilities remain open for the players to use should they wish, with so far Rashford attending and working separately from the rest of the squad. The players in question have also been asked to attend this coming weekend after the rest of the first team have travelled to Stockholm to face Leeds in a pre-season. If this is the level that this is how far Manchester United will go to get these players out of the door, do not be surprised when these players don't leave. Don't be surprised. And I don't know. Am I the only one that thinks this is a bit too much? Am I being too soft on them? Like, yes, I believe what they've done but you would think these Like, you would think that United couldn't do any worse with these players involved. Bear in mind, Man United are going to this extent, to get Anthony out, to get, like, Tyrell Malacia's only crime is being friends with Marcus Rashford. That's the only reason why he's being put into this box of, out of the 5, they're calling them the outcast 5. Instead of Jackson 5, they're calling them the outcast 5. Yeah. Malacia's only crime is being friends with Rashford. Anthony's crime is being an expensive player that never delivered. Sancho, I know what your crime is. Garnacho, I know what your crime is. Rashford, I know what your crime is. But I think that going to this extent, you cannot be surprised when nobody wants to take them off your hands. We want to be ruthless, but we want to be soft with players who don't want to be here. Make up your mind. I think there's levels to ruthlessness. And I genuinely think that there is levels to ruthlessness. I think what would have been ruthless is United terminate their contract. Or, for example, right now it's being reported that Man United are actually open to paying Sancho out of his contract to leave. That is ruthless for me. That is ruthless. Ruthless is not punishing the players like this, publicly coming out and saying they want to leave. Then they come out with their statements from their agents saying, this ain't true. We never asked to leave. And then also saying, oh, by the way, we priced Garnacho at 70 million. And then you're shocked. Then on top of that, bear in mind, I do not agree with what Garnacho did or has done. I don't agree with what Marcus Rashford has done. I don't agree with what Jadon Sancho has done. But when you air your problems out publicly, you cannot be surprised when nobody values your players at the price that you value them at. Because you have, in my opinion, put the ball in their court. Garnacho, for me, the day that he publicly undermined Ruben Amorim, that is the day that he put the ball in the court of other people. Maybe that was his way of trying to push for a move. But then when it came out that Amorim had said, you better pray you find a club to sign you, that is making it known to those clubs that maybe would come in for this player that there is no future for him. Yes, these players are wrong for everything they did. 100%, I totally agree. Yes, they need to leave. But I think that there's a way to go about it. There's a way to go about it, in my opinion. And I just feel like there is so much energy, and I said this a couple of days ago, that there is so much energy for these players when only really Garnacho was the only one that was part of the squad this the season that just passed in terms of finishing 15th. So if anybody should be experiencing the wrath and the screams and the shouts, it should be Garnacho. Because Sancho was gone all season, Anthony was gone half of the season, Malacia was gone for half of the season, and he barely played under Amorim. Rashford was gone for half of the season. The last 6 months of Manchester United football, the only person that was actually a part of it was Garnacho. That's it. Maresca rinsed Sterling, Pep called Phillips fat. They still found a way to move them on. They didn't. Fillmore, I have to disagree with you on this, because when Sterling went on loan, deadline day, Sterling went to Arsenal, Sancho went to Chelsea, right? Chelsea paid most of his wages. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Chelsea paid Sterling's wages to go out on loan because they just wanted to get rid of him. Trevor Chalobah, another player that the manager exiled. They just wanted to get rid of him, sent him on loan, paid his wages. Phillips. Pep can say what he wants about these players, but it devalues them. It devalues them. That's why he has to be careful what he says about the likes of Nico Gonzalez, who they're already looking to try and sell after he's only been here for six months. Petrovic was exiled. Was Petrovic exiled the way that these players are being exiled? Out of curiosity, I just want to know: is Petrovic being exiled to this level? Out of the outcast 5, finished 5, whatever you lot want to call them, who do you think will leave this summer? Oh, that's your point. My bad, Fillmore. Sorry. That's my point, Mina. Do what you need to do to get them gone. Okay, fair enough. I get that. Out of all of these guys, I think Rashford might leave on loan. I genuinely, you know what? Yeah, as much as I look at other teams selling their players for like great prices and selling their academy players for great prices, If United genuinely want rid of these players, sell them to the first buyers. Not necessarily, it's not what I think that should be done, but if you genuinely believe that, you know, these players are bottom barrel and they are the worst of the worst and they have the worst attitude and they are going to ruin the energy in the dressing room and everything is, we genuinely believe that, first bid that comes in for Sancho, sell him. First bid that comes in for Garnacho, sell him. If you could get more, you get more, but be realistic with your valuation. Be realistic with your valuation. That is just my main point, is just be realistic with what you are asking for these players rather than what you believe they should go for. Do I believe Rashford is a 70 million player? Yeah, you lot might think I'm mad, but I think Rashford is a 60 million player. Do I believe he's shown that he's a 60 million player over the last couple of years? No, I don't think so. Do I think United will get 60 million for him? No, I don't think they will. All of that can be true at the same time. It could all be true at the same time. But Manchester United, looking to get rid of these players and putting a lot of weight on the shoulders of selling them, that for me is the scary part. That for me is the scary part, because we are going to be waiting a long time. Like, forget Brian and Mbeumo, guys. I'm thinking right now, what news are we going to get first? Brian and Mbeumo joining Manchester United, or someone being sold? I think if anyone stays, honestly, it'll be Ghana. I think Barca will get Rashford on loan. I think Sancho will go. I think Anthony and Betis, something will get worked out. You could say United didn't help the sale of Garnacho for the comments Amorim made after the Europa final, 100%. But also, you have to look at it on the flip side and believe that Garnacho shouldn't have said what he said. Like, I don't think Amorim should have said what he said. For me, it felt like a tit for tat in the public eye. But also, bear in mind, Amorim never actually verbatim said what he said. Everything that we know about what Amorim has said is from reports from Laurie Whitwell, The Athletic, etc. Garnacho stood there in front of a camera with a microphone answering questions after a game. Like, he stood there answering questions. If anybody publicly devalued himself, it's him. If anyone publicly devalued Garnacho, it's him himself. It's just unfortunate that we found out about what Amorim said behind closed doors. In an ideal world, we wouldn't know that. But I was told to believe that the leaks were no longer at Manchester United. But yet here we are. Let's quickly talk about some other stuff happening in the world of football. Because today I made a video. Today I dropped a video, guys, on my channel about Liverpool. Let's talk about Liverpool quickly. I dropped a video on my channel today, and I said that I have accepted now. We are not on any of these guys' levels. We are not on the, like, when we talk about rivals, yeah, we might be, I think we are historic rivals, but in this day and age, we are not anyway. Like, I'm seeing people saying, "Oh, Newcastle, please don't sell Isak." If Isak stays at Newcastle, guess what? Newcastle will still be better than United. If they stay, they will still be better. They will still be better. So this idea that, oh, let's not sell you. Oh, guys, please don't sell. To what's it called? Big up to Alice with the raid. Big up to Alice. This idea that we're on level with these guys, we are not. We are not. If Liverpool get Ekitike, or they get Isak, and on the flip side, if Newcastle keep Isak, or they buy Ekitike, they are still having a better transfer window than Manchester United. They are still having a better transfer window than Manchester United. Newcastle will never be better. Facts. Historically, they'll never be better. Facts. But I'm talking about in this day and age where we are right now. Manchester United, by the way, when Man United first made that first bid for Brian and Mbeumo, when they made that first bid for Brian and Mbeumo, that was like, what, 6 weeks ago? It's about 6 weeks ago. Alanga hadn't joined Newcastle. João Pedro hadn't joined Chelsea. Gittins hadn't joined Chelsea. Hamd Kudus hadn't joined Tottenham Hotspurs. I think even Kirkes at that time hadn't joined Liverpool yet. Adingra hadn't joined Sunderland. A lot of players had not. Alvaro Fernandes hadn't joined Real Madrid yet. And yet, this idea that Manchester United are still on the quest to sign Brian Mbeumo, I think it's a wake-up call. This should be a wake-up call to every Manchester United fan. We are not going to compete at the level that which Berrada believes that we will compete within 3 years' time if the incompetences of Inos is not solved this summer transfer window. And we also might be experiencing the wrath of this summer transfer window for years to come. For years to come. Not just bringing in players, by the way. Not just bringing in players, but also getting players out. Getting players out will I think derail us for the next season or two if it doesn't happen this window. Manchester United have not really let go of players quite effectively over the last number of years. And when people have left Manchester United, more times out of 10, they've left on a free. This summer, last summer, the summer before that, players, when they leave on a free. And if they had left under, I remember Erik ten Hag, when Manchester United had let players go, it was for peanuts. We let Alvaro Fernandes leave for less than 10 million. Less than, I think it was about 7-8 million. And he's now gone for 50 million. We let Maxi Odeyeli leave. Now he's left. He's gone on to another club where other people are benefiting financially from the players we've sold them. Yes, we have clauses, sell-on clauses, etc. But it worries me about Man United's ability to value their players effectively and also develop their players. Because some of those players were always good to play for Manchester United. Alvaro Fernandes is a prime example, I think, of how Manchester United has been run over the last number of years. Because I think Alvaro Fernandes was always good enough to play for Manchester United. His loan spell at Preston North End, I think, was only overshadowed because of Amad Diallo's loan spell at Sunderland. But he had the second best loan spell that summer. The likes of Ethan Laird was on loan that summer. The likes of Taith Chung, if I'm not wrong, was on loan, as well as Hannibal Mejbri. They were all on loan that summer. But Alvaro Fernandes and Amad both stood out for me. Those two stood out for me the most. Manchester United played Luke Shaw over him. They played Malacia over him. They brought Reguilon in over him. They played Johnny Evans at left back. Toby Collier. I saw Toby Collier at left back. And that was even after Alvaro had left. But this is the levels, and the point that I'm trying to get at is this is the level that Manchester United are willing to go to. Even Amrabat, Soufiane Amrabat, another one. Manchester United have gone from having good talents in their academy and letting them go for nothing to now buying every academy player possible in the hopes of flipping that sell for a couple of million extra just to bank a bit more financially. This is not the way that I think United should be going. If United are genuine about investing, I think you bring in academy players, yes, but you also, in my opinion, bring in first team players. And for me, I said this already coming into this summer transfer window. I said United needed 5 starters at the minimum. At the minimum, Man United needed 5 starters. I'm talking a striker, 2 10s. I'm talking a midfielder. I'm talking a goalkeeper. At the minimum. That doesn't include also the players that you need to bring in for the players that you have let go, i.e. the numbers that we're weighing a bit short with Christian Eriksen, Victor Lindelof, etc. leaving. Those, for me, were clear points coming into the summer transfer window. We now find ourselves a month and a half away from the closure of the window. The window closes on September 1st. We are a month away from the season opening. We are a couple of days away from the pre-season starting for Manchester United. And the same team that finished 15th, the same team that week in, week out was an embarrassment to watch, is now going to be, bar one extra player in Matheus Cunha, and he ain't going to fix everything. He's not going to fix everything. So we are now going to potentially go into pre-season with that in the back of our mind. And I'm worried. I'm really, really worried, guys. Absolutely, I'm worried. And if you're not worried, let me know, because I'm trying to be, on whatever you lot are on. But be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new here. Listen, guys, I promise you, I say this all the time, but there is so much more to football or Manchester United in life, yeah? I know we all have a sentimental attachment to Manchester United, but please do not let this drag you down. Big up to Stuart with the super chat as well. Big up to Stuart. I appreciate it. Thank you, Stuart. It says, Neutral NYC here. Do you blame Amarim for being so public about benching the players you're trying to sell? Are you going to get crap prices? Because buyers know it's a must sell situation for you. Literally the conversation that we were having just before about this. I think, you know, when you publicly undermine your players and you publicly devalue them, you can't be shocked when nobody wants to pay the price that you're asking for. On top of that, when they are on wages and salaries that they are on, that has shown many times that they actually have no right to be on that salary, is very hard. It's a very hard sell. So, for example, look at Jadon Sancho, right? Jadon Sancho earning nearly 300k at Manchester United. He's been there for 5 years, has nothing to prove at his time at Manchester United. He has been publicly exiled multiple times by Manchester United, you know, sent out on loan twice. He spent more time on loan than he probably has in terms of playing games for Manchester United. And then you want to think, oh, 25 million is a reasonable fee for us to hold out for him. It is a reasonable fee if everything wasn't a mess around Jadon Sancho. And Man United have a part to play in it. Jadon Sancho has a part to play in it. The Garnacho thing, another example. You know, the manager, you know, saying what he said behind closed doors and now is public knowledge. The player publicly undermining the manager. And for me, that actually is a bigger problem because it's showing maybe potential buyers the ego on your shoulders. That is another thing. Like, we're talking about what the manager has said and, you know, publicly saying stuff. But the fact that Garnacho felt comfortable enough to publicly undermine the manager, buying teams might look at that and think, "Ooh, that's a personality and a characteristic we don't want in our dressing room." Do you get what I'm saying? I feel like, yes, the manager has played a part in it, but equally, I think the players have also played a part in it. No one is blameless in this situation. Let me see what you lot are saying in the chat. Darren says, "Not worried yet. The window is open until 1st of September for a reason. It's good to get players in as early as possible, but no one said it's going to be easy." I just have a question on that, Darren, and just to everyone as well in the chat. Though it feels like Man United can only work out on one thing at a time. And if it's taken 6-7 weeks so far for Manchester United to even, they're not even anywhere closer to Brian and Mbeumo, but the fact that it's taken 6 weeks so far and it could take another potential weeks, don't you feel like if Man United are only working on one transfer per, like, at a time, that's only going to lead to potentially maybe one other signing when Manchester United need quite a lot more than that? Let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. With the Glazers and Inos in charge, United is still circling the drain grid, hoping for someone to throw a lifeline. 100%. 100%. And you know who's going to be the lifeline that gets thrown at them? Redundancies. It's the redundancies. And I said this earlier as well in the stream. When Man United under Ineos were making these redundancies, and the reason why it hit close to me was because there's nothing different to me and, you know, the person that works at Manchester United that's getting made redundant. We are working class people. You know, you work to make a living, to pay your bills, you know, have a roof over your head. And when Ineos came in and they perceived this as, you know, a necessity for Manchester United to be active in the summer transfer window, that Man United will gain financially from this, that is how they were packaging it, in my opinion, to fans to buy into it. But I never bought into it because I said, you're not going to emotionally manipulate me into believing that, oh, these redundancies, 600 plus, are a necessity because, yes, Man United are in a bad place financially, but also, guys, the silver lining is we are going to use that money to buy people in the summer transfer window. And then fast forward to now, we are 6 weeks deep into Brian and Mbeumo's situation, and David Ornstein is reporting that Man United are still millions away from the valuation of what Brentford want. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't. And the Glazers have done, they've pulled the wool over Ineos's eyes. They gave them a ridiculous deal. How much billion to buy a little 28% share in Manchester United, and said, oh, by the way, you guys are going to be in the firing line. You guys are going to be, football, you're going to have the football ownership, because they don't want anything that implicates them. The Glazers have always been the people that criticized when it comes to the decision making at Manchester United. They realized that they can now have a lifeline and that can be Ineos, who will be in the firing line, who will be criticized, who will be the ones that, you know, fans are going to come after when things go wrong. And also, they got to financially eat from it. They got to financially eat from it. And they probably still will continue to financially eat from it when they get the opportunities of their dividends, etc. The Glazers and Ineos, I always said this, Ineos, anyone that brought in a share of Manchester United with Glazers still remaining as majority owners, I always said I wouldn't. It's not something that for me is feasible for Manchester United, because it was full sell or nothing. Because as long as the Glazers remain, I will see you as the owners that have come in to provide what's it called? I will see you as the owners that have come in to provide a lifeline. Unfortunately, to the Glazers. But listen, guys, you don't know what it is. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. We've got so much content coming on the channel over the next week or so. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Turn on your post notifications. So when I go live, you lot will get notified. Listen, you lot know if there's any news between now and tomorrow, I will be live. If not, I'll be live tomorrow. We'll have a video dropping as well relating to transfer news across different teams in Europe. Big up to everyone that sent in super chats. Big up to Alice with the raid. Big up to all the new subscribers. Welcome to the community. Make sure you lot hit the subscribe button. I hope you have a wonderful evening. And like I said, if there's anything new, I will be live. If not, I'll catch you lot all tomorrow. I'm out. Peace.